They warned me about my foreign woman. Here's truth. Before I met her, I heard all the warnings. People told me, be careful, you don't know her real intentions, or foreign women only want something from you. Some even went as far as to say, you're just a stepping stone for her. At first, their words planted small doubts in my mind. I kept wondering if maybe they were right, if maybe I was being blinded by feelings. But then I remembered something. None of them actually knew her. When we first started talking, she didn't ask me for money, didn't push me to do anything for her. She just wanted to know me, really know me. We would spend hours sharing stories, sometimes laughing so hard our cheeks hurt, other times sitting in comfortable silence, listening to the sound of each other's breathing through the phone. She never pretended to be perfect. She told me about her struggles, her family's hardships, and the challenges she faced in her country. But never once did she use those things to make me feel guilty. She simply wanted me to understand her world, and I noticed something. Every time she smiled, it wasn't to impress me, it was because she meant it. Every time she spoke, it wasn't to convince me of anything, it was to let me into her truth. That's when I realized the warnings people gave me were based on fear, not facts. The more time I spent with her, the more I saw the reality. She wasn't chasing my wallet, she was chasing moments with me. When I offered to send her gifts, she would say, keep it for when we meet in person, that will mean more. She wasn't the type to post everything on social media. She didn't try to show off our relationship for likes or attention. Instead, she treasured the private side of what we had. Sometimes we'd have deep talks late at night, and she'd tell me about the little dreams she had, like wanting to open a small cafe one day, or learning another language, so she could travel freely. Her priorities were simple. She cared more about loyalty than luxury, more about trust than travel tickets. One thing that stood out was how she protected me from worry. If she was going through a hard time, she would still ask about my day first, listen to my problems, and find a way to make me smile, even when she was the one who needed comfort. Every action, every word proved that she was here for me, not for what I had, but for who I was. That's when I began to see clearly. The truth about her was the complete opposite of the warnings. It happened on an ordinary evening. We weren't celebrating anything. There was no special occasion, no romantic setup. Just the two of us talking like we always did. I had a rough day at work. The kind where you feel like giving up on everything. I didn't even want to answer her call at first. But something in me said, she'll understand. The moment I picked up, she didn't ask me why I sounded tired. She didn't flood me with questions. Instead, she said, I can hear it in your voice. You need a break. Let's just sit quietly together for a while. And so we did. No pressure to talk. No need to pretend I was fine. She hummed a soft tune while folding laundry in the background. And that sound, it was like she was saying without words, I'm here. You're safe. You don't have to explain. After a few minutes, I felt lighter. Not because my problems were solved, but because she didn't make me feel weak for having them. Then she told me something that stayed with me forever. Love isn't just about the exciting days. It's about sitting in the quiet when life feels heavy. As we grew closer, I began to understand that love like this isn't built overnight. It's woven slowly, with patience and trust, especially when distance and differences stand in the way. She never rushed me to make big promises or quick decisions. Instead, she let us grow naturally, like a plant reaching toward the sun, one small day at a time. She showed me that being foreign wasn't a barrier, it was part of her strength. It meant she had learned to adapt, and knowing you're not alone. That was the moment I realized this woman wasn't just someone I wanted to be with. She was someone I needed in my life, the type who would stand with me in the storm, not just dance with me in the sunshine. And that night, I stopped thinking about the warnings people gave me. I knew they didn't see what I saw, the depth, the care, the rare kind of love she carried. The more time I spent with her, the more I noticed the small, quiet ways she showed love. It wasn't always about big romantic gestures or expensive gifts. It was in the little details, the things most people overlook. If I mentioned once that I liked a certain tea, she'd remember it months later and have it ready the next time I visited. If I had a busy day ahead, she'd send me a quick message in the morning. Don't skip breakfast. You can't fight battles on an empty stomach. She listened to the parts of me that others didn't care to hear, my fears, my past mistakes, my hidden dreams. She didn't judge or try to change me. She simply accepted me, and somehow that made me want to be better. I began to see why the people who warned me never understood. They saw only the surface, the differences in culture, the distance, the challenges, but they didn't see how her heart worked. They didn't feel the peace she brought into a room, or the strength she gave without asking for anything back. And here's the truth that nobody told me before. Sometimes love doesn't come in the package you expect. It comes from a place you never thought to look, and from a person who speaks not only to your ears but to your soul. Being with her wasn't just about romance, it was about finding a home in another human being, a safe place, even if that safe place was thousands of miles from where I started. The deeper I fell for her, the more I realized that this wasn't just a relationship. It was a bridge between two completely different worlds. She taught me things that had nothing to do with romance. How to slow down and actually taste my food. How to respect silence instead of rushing to fill it with words. How to celebrate small victories instead of waiting for big ones. When she spoke about her country, her eyes would light up, telling me about markets where you could smell spices from a block away, about festivals where people danced in the streets until sunrise, and about family dinners that lasted for hours, because the time together was more important than the clock. I realized that love with her meant opening my mind as much as my heart. It wasn't just about learning her favorite color or her favorite song. It was about understanding her roots and letting them grow alongside mine, to navigate worlds that weren't always kind or easy. She carried that resilience quietly, without boasting, but with a fierce pride I deeply, sometimes. I caught her looking thoughtful, maybe missing her family, or the life she left behind. Those moments reminded me that love between two people from different places isn't always simple. It asks for understanding and kindness, for two hearts willing to hold each other through the hard parts, not just the happy ones. Her culture taught her respect, not just in words but in actions. The way she greeted elders, the way she spoke about her parents with reverence, the way she honored traditions, even when we disagreed. I learned to see the beauty in those customs, the lessons in her stories, and the warmth in her way of caring. At the same time, she embraced my culture with open arms. She was curious, asking questions, trying new foods, learning my language little by little. That effort wasn't just polite. It was love in action. She wanted to be part of my world, just as much as I wanted her to be part of mine. And through it all, she remained herself, never trying to change for me or lose her identity. That balance of staying true while growing together is rare. It's the kind of love that lasts because it's based on respect, not possession. I stopped worrying about what others thought or said. Their warnings were just noise compared to the calm, steady truth I found in her presence. This love isn't a story of fear or caution. It's a story of hope and courage. The moment everything changed wasn't dramatic or loud. It was quiet, just like the love we shared. One day, we were sitting together sharing a simple meal. It wasn't fancy, just some home-cooked food made with care. We talked about future dreams, hopes that felt so far away, but somehow real when spoken aloud. She reached out and held my hand. No grand words, no promises, just that touch. It said everything. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just in love with a woman from another country. I was in love with a person who saw me, understood me, and accepted me in a way no one else had. Her presence felt like a safe harbor after years of storms. I thought about all the warnings again, the doubts and fears people had tried to plant in my mind. But now, those voices sounded distant, like echoes from a place I no longer belonged to, because this was my truth, my story to write. She wasn't someone to be warned about. She was someone to be cherished. She taught me that love is bigger than borders, louder than doubts, and stronger than fears. And now I'm ready to build a future with her. A future that no warning can break, no distance can weaken. Because the truth about my foreign woman is that she changed my life in ways I never expected.